is discussing the topic, charting a collaborative roadmap for quality partnerships. And this is where I want us to kick off today's session. And I'd like us to put our hands together and welcome Dr. Canisius Kanagire, who's the Executive Director of AATF. Let's appreciate him as he joins us on stage, taking the seat at the farthest. Let's also put our hands for the former Ethiopia State Minister of Livestock and Fisheries, Dr. Gebre Yohannes. Let's appreciate him as he joins us on stage. Thank you. Thank you. And then let's also put our hands for the President and CEO of Asai Technology Japan, Dr. Yuichiro Asai. And last but not least, let's also welcome the Executive Director of Alliance for Science, Dr. Sheila Obim. Thank you. And finally, we have the Regional Director, East and Southern Africa at AGRA, Professor Jean-Jacques Muhinda. Let's appreciate him as he joins us on stage. Going to be very snappy, and the aim is for us to just set the tone for what we're going to be witnessing today. And I want to start off with Edie, so that I'm not fired. Allow me to start with you this morning, because I would love to understand, first of all, the lessons from the agricultural partnerships that we've seen across the continent. And, you know, sadly, some of them have dissolved over time. And I don't know why this always has to be the case, that we are so friendly and then all of a sudden we are no longer partnering, we are no longer working together. I'm keen to understand, what do we need to prioritize to maintain the consistencies of these partnerships in that sense?
Thank you very much, Eugene. I think the first one is...
Maybe let's pause a bit and appreciate our guest, the former president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, is joining us this morning. Let's appreciate him. Of course, he's here with His Excellency Ambassador Zana, the Acting High Commissioner of Nigeria. Thank you very much. Thank you. We may take our seats. Right. Go ahead, Edie.
Very good. Thank you very much. I think one first thing is to get your vision and the vision of your potential partner aligned. That's the first thing to me. And then the second is how aligned are your goals and the time horizon? Are you looking at very short time, or are you looking at a partnership which can last long and produce impact as you go on? I think most of the time also we have not taken enough, we have not paid enough attention to aligning our aspiration and the milestones that we would like to have in terms of that cooperation, that partnership. For example, a partner would come in expecting to have an impact in the next 2 to 5 years. But the reality in agriculture is that the impact may rather come in 10 or 15 years. So we need to agree on those results and when they are expected to come, so that we can appreciate the progress we are making to implementing the key strategies that you two partners have agreed upon. And with that, with continuous revisiting your strategies, your result, and your alignment with the changes which are happening in the environment, then you can keep your commitment to that partnership. But I must say that the environment is changing quite quickly, and it is quite difficult today to have those strategies in place and be sure that they will work the way we think.
Yeah.
They should.
Yeah, thank you. I think today I've broken the protocol of starting with the minority on the set. Today I think we have a minority on the set. We should have actually started with Dr. Sheila. Apologies. Dr. Sheila, I'm a he for she, so don't worry. We're in this together. Tell me a bit of the role of technology and how we can be able to understand technology becoming an integral part of these partnerships. We have people who are operating from far and wide, but sometimes we've seen technology as an enabler of connecting us to be able to continue on these partnerships. How can we ensure that science becomes an integral player in ensuring these partnerships are thriving?
Yes, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here again in the second ACAT and to have this rich conversation. Technology, and we're talking about a spectrum of technologies. For Alliance for Science, we're a science communication organization. So technology is at the heart of how we reach people and also explaining the technologies that bring the innovations is also another aspect. So 2 things. One, we are now living, as we all know, in the age of AI. We all have mobile phones. Now, when Alliance for Science started 10 years ago, we didn't have those technologies to help us reach communities and talk about the innovations that could help improve food security. So science communication has had to innovate and to think about how do we reach young people through WhatsApp, through Instagram, and then how do we break down the complex technologies of biotech to them in a way that holds their attention for more than 30 seconds. Yeah. So we've had to innovate in that. But we've also had to work with the scientific community, AATF, OFAB, and all of the regional organizations to understand the complexity of what they're doing in the lab, and then think about how do we get farmers to understand the opportunities of these new hybrid technologies, and then consumers, what opportunities for food and nutrition security it brings. So Alliance for Science, and I like to emphasize the 4, is a bridge. We're a bridge between partners in research, communities in the field, consumers sitting there making a choice about what they feed their children at night, and governments to look at how do we bring food and nutrition security to the African continent in the near future. Yeah. Thank you.
Interesting. Dr. Gabriel Johannes, now that I've set the tone, my job is safe, protocols have been observed. In this sense, I want to hear from you, because you've sat in cabinet before, and I want to hear from where you sit today. What is the true picture of a successful partnership look like, if you can paint that picture for us?
Thank you very much. Good morning. Actually, from my previous and current experience, I appreciate the need for collaboration at different levels. It could be at national level or it could be at regional level. In most African countries, we have been dealing with different projects, programs, but most of them are in silos. And that silo couldn't bring any, I can say, the change that it brought in changing the livelihood of our farmers, our communities, is very low. So I strongly believe, from the 2 hats, from previous hats and present hats, that collaboration and partnership is crucial. A partnership at national level should be led by governments, because there are different actors supporting the development of the countries, and that has to be led by the governments. So it is through that partnership that we ensure complementarity of different interventions, we ensure continuity of some of the activities, and that will lead us also to impact. From the present hat I have, I work for the International Livestock Research Institute. I would like to explain few areas which has resulted in significant contribution in both mixed crop livestock system and pastoral system. IRLI, as an institute, is a global livestock research institute working in 15 countries, and IRLI has revised now its strategy 2025 to 2030. In the strategy, we have put a target of 300 million people, to impact 300 million people. But this impact cannot be realized by working in silo. Rather, we have two pathways where IRLI and its collaborators will deploy and scale technologies. The other path is through providing evidence to national partners so that they also contribute to the impact of on the livelihood of people. Two results from the mixed crop livestock and also pastoralists. One is the CASNet. CASNet is an information system developed and designed for the pastoral system where real-time data is coming to a central database. Pastoralists are involved in the data collection, both market data, household data, and also rangeland data. Based on that information, evidence will be provided to policymakers so that they act if there is any disaster coming predicted. Then there will be immediate action, like the index-based insurance that IRLI has been implementing in Kenya and Ethiopia, which is based on protecting asset loss. That could be also linked to the CASNet we have. Yeah. The other platform we have is, we call it ADDG platform, or African Asian Dairy Genetic Gain platform, that is also a real-time data collection. And also, after data collection, it's not only data collection, but the platform will also provide SMS messaging to smallholder farmers based on the data collected. And that all data, in addition to the data we collect daily, we also genotype animals and then select adaptable, high-yielding dairy animals to the smallholder farmer. Yeah. Because one of the challenges we have in Africa is access to improved genetics by smallholder farmers. So IRLI is working in collaboration with 6 countries and international partners on establishing a national breeding program that can consecutively select best bulls within the country and disseminate as sires in the AI system. And that platform has also, as I said, SMS messaging, where in partnership with a private sector company, we also send SMS messages to our farmers so that farmers will continue improving their management of their animals. Yeah. And it has also analytical platform functionality where policymakers can open the platform in their office and see a summary of the data coming and also some of the challenges they have. It has also a capacity building component. We have put so many extension education materials, e-learning tools, where national extension agents could access them and learn capacities themselves through reading those extension input. So that capability also has an integration capability because it can also link to different databases so that other data could also come together so that for a national policy and also for planning, that data could help policymakers. Yeah. Probably my last point is, in different countries, we have different silos of data collection, but those data are now being pulled to one database so that national level policy making, county level policy making, and at district level policy making could be enabled. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to cross over to Dr. Asai, but as I cross over, Dr. Gabriel Johannes, I want you to think about this question. Now that you're working from the other side, I need you to think about this question. How easy or how difficult is it to work with government? Because sometimes a lot of people think about it from a partnership perspective through the aspect of bottlenecks. There's a lot of bureaucracy and all that from a partnership perspective. When I come back to you, please, you'll tell me now, how does it feel working from the other side.
Yeah.
Dr. Esai, I want to understand the models. When we look at Japan, there's been a lot of advancement in that sector in terms of partnerships. I know it's not a one-size-fits-all. Every country has its own unique, cases. What has worked for Japan that if you look back, you'd say, okay, I think this is a model that we could be able to look at from a partnership perspective?
Yeah, okay. So I think there are two key points. And to building partnership in the food system. The first is to promote smart agriculture through public-private partnership.
Yeah.
And the second is to build a global agri-food value chain and through multilateral cooperation. So last year, Japanese government enacted a new law called the Smart Agriculture Technology Utilization Promotion Act, which aims to accelerate the on-site introduction, of smart agriculture technologies. Additionally, to promote digital transformation, 6 years ago, they established a data infrastructure platform with data integration, sharing, and provision functions. So farmers submit plans to the government, and if approved, they are given priority in receiving subsidies.
Yeah.
The idea of cross-compliance is also important. So collaboration with other industries is also important in developing new technologies. In our case, we established a joint venture project with big companies such as Toyota Group and Mitsui Trading to build new business models and develop new technologies. So next, regarding the agri-food value chain, to build a strong value chain, deep collaboration between each business operator from upstream to downstream. And for the model to succeed, each element of the value chain needs to be specialized and a high level.
Okay.
Yeah. In addition, a strong value chain creates a profit pool, but the mechanism for distributing it to everyone is also important. So in order to create new markets, collaboration beyond national borders is important. My company has built a strong partnership with Netherlands in the horticultural field, and with New Zealand in the fruits field in terms of technology and sales. So I hope that deeper collaboration will be promoted between African countries and Japan, so that we can jointly develop new markets.
Right.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's quite interesting. Let us park it there and bring Prof. Mohinda, who's been silent since we started, just for fairness purposes. Prof, I know AGRA is at the root of leveraging science and technology when it comes to agricultural transformation. We've heard from the previous speakers, some have defined what true partnerships look like. But from where you sit, how do we ensure that we move beyond the characteristics of the partnerships we want to see to actually making them a reality? Even from this room, what sort of partnership do you anticipate coming from this Congress or conference?
Thank you.
Should be on.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Nangwe, for having me. Good morning, everyone. You're right. So we consider ourselves as a partnership institution, as a scaling and delivery agency, unlike the other institutions that are more into technology generation. Now, to your question on how would a successful partnership look like, I think from my point of view and where we come from as an institution, we believe that for any collaborative partnership initiative to be successful, you first have to understand very clearly the different point of leverage. So what I mean by leverage here is understanding clearly the additionality from different players in the landscape. in this room here, you have institutions that play different roles.
Yeah.
Unless you understand exactly the value proposition of each of the institution, you can go wrong. You can end up duplicating other than complementing each other. Just to illustrate that, I come from Agra. We do not consider ourselves as a technology generation institution, but we play from the other side. In fact, when you look at our mandate and our delivery approach, our work starts exactly from where the work of research and development institution and even innovation institutions stop. That means the what? That means that we focus more on facilitating last mile delivery of technologies, innovations that have either been developed by the National Research Institution, by the CG centers, by institutions like AATF, and others that have a core mandate on developing technologies. So we recognize that. So we play on the other side of the technology value chain, if I may call it that way. So that could include scaling innovation in input, in finance, in market, in sustainable farming, all sorts of innovations. Number two, we also look at policy and institutional innovations because we believe that is so critical. In this area, we look at three major things. Number one, policy influence. What does it mean? It's really working with mandated institutions at national level, could be government ministries and others, to make sure that we are designing and implementing evidence-based but also most inclusive policies with the idea of unlocking private sector investment.
Yeah. What have you found when you
So
do
this
that?
this is the finding, the major finding. What matters as far as a large-scale transformation of agriculture is concerned is not the resources that our institution put on the table.
Yeah.
It's the way those resources actually catalyze much bigger investment. You know, I may bring 100 million to agricultural sector in Rwanda. What does it mean? I mean, the government is putting 10 times more.
Yeah.
So how investment from institutions like all of ours here become more important is the way you catalyze much bigger investment from either private sector, development partners, and making sure that you're establishing enabling environments that attracts more domestic and foreign investment.
Yeah.
And lastly, once you put all those things together, you are expanding the agricultural sector. You are increasing the output of the agriculture. So it brings another question of markets. So we do invest massively on ensuring that farmers, SMEs, anchor farms, and other value chain actors who are supporting have access to market. It's that only way that you can actually continuously expand the sector and create more opportunities, including even work opportunities for youth.
Right. Thank you. So since we don't have so much time, I want us to pick commitments from where we sit in terms of the commitments we are making at our institutions and at individual level in terms of ensuring that when we sit down to build these partnerships, they actually are partnerships that last and are impactful. Dr. Canisius, I'll start with you. What is your commitment from where you sit?
Thank you. Our commitment is to keep playing, I would say, the bridge between those who generate the innovations and technology and link them to the private and public sector who will play a key role in transferring those technologies to the end users, who are the farmers.
Yeah.
And here, it means that we will cater for the interest of each one in that partnership and be able to produce the result expected by each of the partners.
Thank you. We got that noted down somewhere. Dr. Gabriel Hannes, what is your commitment? Just very briefly.
Yeah, actually, it's not about innovating a technology, but the way we deliver the technology and also the component of a value chain that the technology feels has to be also clear.
Yeah.
Unless we address issues on value chain, we are talking about the input side. Yeah. The technology is an input, but whatever input is used, if it's not linked, if the product is not linked to market, then it will not bring any impact.
So what's your commitment?
Our commitment is still is open for a collaboration.
Okay.
We have clearly stipulated that we need to impact 300 million people. We have a strong partnership so far, and we still need partners to join us
Right.
to realize our commitments.
Thank you, Dr. Esai. I mean, what's your commitment from where you said? What do you commit?
Yeah. So it's important to develop agricultural leaders.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who will lead the future? So I am a director of Nuffield International Scholarship Program, and the scholars selected from each country's travel for 2 years, and so eventually they play central roles of a hub in various partnerships.
Yeah.
So next generation's agricultural leaders is
Yeah.
very important.
Wonderful. Dr. Sheila, what's your commitment?
I'm so happy to follow on from that. We are also committed to developing the next generation of agricultural leaders in terms of supporting the science communication, content creators.
Yeah.
We are developing a science content creation hub here in partnership with Alliance for Science Rwanda. One of our fellows, Pacifique, who has been working across the sector, is based here. So we are going to open a hub to develop 15,000 content creators to help them to develop good science content to help us fight misinformation, and also to verify it so that we can get it out there. It's the only way that we can help support the leaders of tomorrow, by bringing good science content. And also these young people can monetize some of that. Content creators are creating all kinds of things without the basic scientific knowledge to do so well to support our ecosystem. So we are committed to supporting the evolution of content creators and also to curate that so that all our partners can use that content to fight misinformation. Thank you.
Yeah. I thought the young people in the room who are on TikTok would be clapping. This is an opportunity for you. Prof, you have the last word, very briefly, your commitment at AGRA.
Very good. So 3 things.
Yeah. 3, just give me 1.
3.
Yeah,
No,
you might not manage
just
all the
list,
3. Yes.
Number 1, we commit to continue strengthening capacity of institutions to deliver on their mandate. That's very critical.
Yeah.
Number 2, as an institution, we are known as a major convener in the continent. So bringing all the actors together to interact and see where the additionality is, like I said earlier on.
Yeah.
Last one, as an institution, we commit to create 1.5 million work opportunities for young people in the continent in the last 5 years. That's something we already have in a contractual agreement with the Muscat Foundation. That's why you see all these young boys and girls in white shirts here.
Yeah.
They are part of that cohort that we're committing to support. It's not an easy one, but we will have to leverage on the partnership to achieve it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Can we please appreciate the panel, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you very much. I'll release you for a photo. Just, you could stand here, and then the camera people will take the pictures and introduce the next panel real quick. Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's appreciate them one more time, please, ladies and gentlemen. Our next quick fireside discussion is on building the ecosystem, the infrastructure, the finance, the capacity. And I'd like us to prepare ourselves to introduce our panelists who are joining us for this specific session. And one of them is none other than the Honorable Minister of State, the Ministry of Agriculture and Animal Resources of the Republic of Rwanda, Honorable Eric Rwigamba. Let's appreciate him as he joins us. Trying to check. Yes. Can we give him another round of applause, please, ladies and gentlemen? Karibu sana. Right. Yes, the first chair. Yes. Coming in next is Brenda Gunde, the lead global technical specialist at ICT4D, Sustainable Products, Markets and Institutions Division at IFAD. Let's appreciate her as she comes, please. We also have Dr. Stella Simiu, the Director, Regulatory Affairs and Stakeholders Relations at CropLife Africa, Middle East. And last but not least, we have the Communications and Engagement Lead at Gates AG1, that is Ms. Katie Taft. Let's appreciate Ms. Katie as she comes. And we have the man with the money, who actually talks to those with the money. and that is none other than the chairperson of the Rwanda Bankers Association, Mr. Hannington Namara. Let's appreciate Mr. Hannington Namara as he joins us for this session. You clap properly, he will give you the money. Oh. Thank you so much. We have just a few minutes to really try and crack things out on this one. And I think on this one, I'm going to start with Honorable Eric, because a lot of times we've talked about strategic partnerships, we've talked about policy frameworks and investment models, but we need to understand in the need of scaling this kind of partnerships in that sense, where do you see us scaling, especially when it comes to human capacity and capital development in that sense across the continent? Where do we stand, and from where you sit at the Ministry of Agriculture, I mean, what's happening in that end?
Thank you very much, and good morning, everyone. The issue of human capacity development is a broad one, and especially if you want to look at it from the lens of the entire ecosystem, it even gets even more complex. But I think when you have the right policies and you are able to come up with the proper structures in place with the clear defined objectives, it becomes easier, because then with the clear objectives you are able to create an environment that would allow very mutual partnerships. Now, I think where we sit, what we see that is very helpful and probably could be shared with everyone across the continent, the first thing is open door from the policy perspective, the political will. It can't just happen. There must be board decisions to say, you know what, for us to create this ecosystem that will be conducive to create mutual partnership, you need to get out of your way, make some incentives, put in place some laws and regulations, and then you start now investing even some money to start working on them. And in that context, what we have seen in Rwanda, when you do all that, then you start making some baby steps. When Rwanda declared and decided to make Rwanda a home of proof of concept, that was the intention to say, you know what, come, make some mistakes, take some risks. The infrastructures are in place, the connectivity is good, the climate is good, the laws, everything is good. Come and we start here and take it to across the continent. And we have seen that helping a lot. When you open the door, say, you know what, development of our capability of our people could be through formal education systems and institutions. And that's when you saw institutions like CMAU, institutions like RICA, institutions like University of Rwanda, and so many others coming, and the government was intention to go and look for them. We want technology, we want science. So it starts from there. But on the other side, we also made a lot of effort to go and create partnerships between different countries, different organizations. We have been able to attract a partnership like the Zeppelin. I'm sure people have seen it, to come and help us how to deliver Siemens to our farmers. It started as an idea because of the environment, because the partners came and we rolled it out, and it's working, and it's now everywhere. When you look at the kind of graduates we are getting from different research institutions that are giving us really good varieties and seeds and breeds and drones, all that is, for us, has only been possible because we had the right policy and the commitment from the government.
An open door kind of policy.
Sorry?
An open door,
kind of policy.
Right.
Which has, but again, facilitation. So you make a decision to bring them. You go attract them and bring them. But also facilitate them, take care of them, protect them, love them, and put some money on the table. And that has been very helpful to develop the capabilities of our ecosystem actors.
Interesting. I want to hear from Brenda. We've heard from the Honorable Minister of State in terms of the incentives for institutional partnerships in that sense. Let's talk about the carrot without the stick this time. For the youngsters who are getting into agri-tech, what sort of carrots do we need to continue dangling for them?
Yeah, thank you so much. I think the couple of carrots that we have seen that are quite increasing the incentive for agri-techs to move and work with more rural smallholder farmers. One of the things that, as also IFAD we're looking at, is how do we start helping farmers to look more into structured markets, because we need to look at a pull effect, ensuring that the smallholder farmers are able to organize themselves into cooperatives where they can be able to aggregate produce. Because now they are able to aggregate produce, now we create the pull effect and the demand for better crops, and also even providing the agronomic practices advisory for them to be able to increase the quality of the production. So that alone also creates that incentive for an agri-tech to say, I can actually work with these smallholder farmers, because one, they have been able to organize themselves into a structured market. Secondly, they have now aggregated the produce that it can be able to increase their level of selling those products, so that they can be able to pay for the different services that they're working on. The other part also, I think, is incentive on the de-risking the investments towards access to digital services. Because if you look at agri-techs, when they're working with smallholder farmers, they need to be able to utilize digital services. And digital enabled services, yes, we ensure that they are able to work offline, but most of the time they work online, meaning that they need to have access to technology. So you're now working with different partners. You're working with an agri-tech, but you're also working on incentivizing another actor, which is a mobile network operator. Because the mobile network operator needs to know, if I'm going to increase my access to services or broadband into this area, what is an incentive for me to be able to do that? So as government, you're aggregating that type of demand by ensuring that, yes, the farmers, you have incentivized them to produce more, but also now they can be able to access the digital services. The other part is now the de-risking of investment towards the agri-tech themselves. Because agri-techs, yes, some of them have been able to move from what we call the value of death. The value of death is the initial, the early startups that have capital. They have been able to amass maybe 2,000 to 10,000 farmers. But most of them, they get stuck in that valley of death. They're not able to reach scale. So how do we ensure that they're able to reach scale? So de-risking access to capital, as IFAD, we are increasing more in terms of private sector investments. We're looking at working with more private sector so that we can be able to provide concessional capital, other also forms of capital through our partners, so that they can be able to access that capital for them to be able to now provide innovative services to smallholder farmers. So there are a lot of carrots that can be put across the table, especially to incentivize both ends, the agri-techs, but also in terms of the smallholder farmers, for a win-win kind of situation.
Interesting. I want to cross over and come just next to me here. Actually, should have started here. This is where the money is. Hannington, I know, your colleagues within the banking or financial spaces, some of them I know you have not, but a lot of them always say agriculture is a risky business, and so we cannot fund, we cannot finance. You shy away from it in that sense. Do you personally hold to that opinion as well?
Thank you, Anangwe. First, risk is in every place, everywhere, including the air we breathe. Could prove to be risky, particularly in times of COVID. So agriculture, just like any other business, has risks. But the way we tend to look at risks is from the other side. How can we mitigate these risks? How can we work with the available means to put deterrence from these risks crystallizing? And I think one of the ways is and I think agriculture has lagged behind in terms of using technology to actually deal with those risks. I'm glad to see that we are beginning to bring technology to agriculture, which then provides hinge points to start looking at how do I design financial products around those risks, but using technology, AI, for example, and I'm glad to see the innovators in the room, How can we deal with those risks? And on this panel, I've seen public sector, one of the ministers said it properly, IFAD and all the others, everybody bringing what they are good at on the table. For the banks that I represent here, the issue is not money. The money is available.
The money is available.
The money is available.
We are not dancing enough.
Very available. For sure, money is available. And agriculture being one of the resilient sectors of this economy, or even other economies, I'm sure every one of us, every morning or at lunch or dinner, we eat. So there's a ready market. There's a ready market.
But why is it that always top of the challenges is access to finance? Yet you're saying money is available.
Yes, it is the how that is the problem. It's the money is available, resources are available. It is knowing how to channel that money to the opportunities in agriculture.
How can we do it?
Exactly. And that's why I'm saying everybody bringing their part on the table. Banks will bring the financial bit, but who will deal with climate risks? Who will deal with technology? Who will deal with the other risks to do with knowledge? Capacitating the farmers, capacitating the agri-techs themselves, the innovators, capacitating so they have the right knowledge that whatever they bring on the table makes money for themselves, but is also of value to the other actors. And when we start looking at the spectrum from production to the market or to the plate, there are opportunities in every place. I think the issue that banks have always, the financial sector have always struggled with is, are we in this space alone? And I like the discussions that were on earlier in the earlier panel of partnerships. Can we forge a partnership that actually holds agriculture at the center, and we begin to see resources coming in? So the money is not a challenge. It is the issue of how, and how do we deal with those risks?
Right. Interesting.
And if they're done, we should be able to bring the money.
I'm going to come back to that, and please let's hold that thought from that particular aspect. But Dr. Stella, I know most of the times private sector and public sector, in most situations, we've always seen a finger-pointing kind of thing. You are doing it less, we are doing it more, as if it's a beauty pageant of who's the fairest of them all. How do we ensure that we move away from that finger-pointing of who's doing what and move to proper, impact-driven, solutions-focused public-private partnerships that work for the farmers in that sense?
Thank you very much, Anangwe, for that question. Indeed, it's all about trusting your collaborator. And coming from CropLife Africa Middle East, an association that is regional and representing industry in terms of the innovators, all the way from R&D to deployment and end of life cycle. Indeed, we need the government in all that process to move from innovating to deploying the product into life cycle management. We need the government. So how do we encourage trust? One of the areas that is really critical is how do we work on regulatory maturity, representing the biotech, representing crop protection in terms of conventionals and biologicals. Is really a regulated environment. And in this, you really need the government as a key player and nurture a trusting relationship between the private sector and government. And one of the ways is how we have looked at this is a sustainable pesticide management framework that looks at the needs in terms of how can we be partners in sustainable farming in terms of providing food safety, food nutrition, and livelihoods in terms of market access. And really, it needs one, capacity building for our regulators. As a regulated sector, you'll find that in some areas you have very few regulators, one or two and really when government comes forward and lays the foundation in terms of bringing expertise, and what we have done through the sustainable pesticide management is bring on board a platform where through our global network we can reach out to other publics, the other governments in other regions to support our region in terms of expanding regulatory expertise. The other area has been to work with the RECs in terms of how do we harmonize data? How do we enable the flourishing of investment if one government relates to another in terms of sharing data, harmonizing, mutual recognition of data? That is very critical.
Yeah.
And the other aspect, therefore, is on the other spectrum is innovation. What innovations are we bringing? And through the sustainable management framework, we have seen drones. The drones used in application of crop protection products, yet the regulatory terrain in terms of readiness is not there. So how do we work with government? So the trust is realization of the need. We bring innovation, we bring the expertise to deploy the innovation, and government sets the enabling environment. So how do we support them? In this sustainable pesticide management framework, we look at a regional impact. If we have invested in Kenya through CropLife International, in Morocco and in Egypt, but the countries around these countries then benefit from this framework to look at how do we increase innovation, how do we inform our farmers, and really communicating about our technology for our members. So maybe as I conclude that part is just to say that indeed it's the role of government to provide an enabling framework for innovation and deployment of that innovation to happen.
To thrive.
And so we support them in that role.
Awesome. Katie, I know most of the times there's the aspect of trying to lobby to see some of the innovations and interventions that farmers want to see implemented from a policy perspective, access to finance perspective, beyond the traditional ways that we've seen this space in terms of the lobbying happening. What more can we do to ensure that the voices are being heard and they're reaching the right ears?
Yeah, thank you, Eugene. If I could, just based on my colleague Stella's remarks, it kind of pinged something in my head that probably I need to introduce the organization I'm representing here today, which sits a little bit in the mushy middle, if you will, between the public and the private sectors. Yeah. So we are Gates Agricultural Innovations. We're a relatively new organization. We're also known as Gates Ag One, as you introduced us. And we work very closely with the foundation, the Gates Foundation, but we are a separate organization. And we have a laser focus on precisely what Stella, we have a lot in common, so we're going to talk after this, but we are laser focused on crop innovations. And you were talking about risk. This organization was set up to take risks, looking at those moonshot discoveries, and particularly moonshot discoveries for those crops that are really important for smallholder farmers. So I'll leave it there, but I want to get back to your very important question. I think the secret sauce, the ones that probably are overlooked, that could lobby and advocate and really send a clear message to the private sector who's up on this stage about the risk, but also about the profitability of agriculture. And you said it yesterday, agriculture is the heartbeat of the economy. If that's the case, then the backbone is the smallholder farmer. We need to give them platforms and comfortable opportunities. And what I mean by that is perhaps they wouldn't want to be up on this stage telling their story. We need to give them platforms to raise their voices. They're the ones that can tell us, they're the businessmen and women that we would tell anybody who is listening that smallholder farmers don't want handouts. They want to be seen as the businessmen and women that they are. Yeah. And they know the markets. They speak private sector language. They have the business acumen. They talk about allocating resources. They know market engagement. They know consumer behaviors. And so I think that's the secret in terms of raising their voices, giving them opportunity to show and demonstrate and really capture the attention of the private sector, because we need the private sector more than ever to see that agriculture is profitable, and we need to make sure that those voices are heard.
Right. Thank you. So we're going to take commitments just real quick in under a minute. Harrington, I know you have a mandate at the Rwanda Bankers Association. What is the commitment that you're making to the farmers in the room today in terms of the money that you said is available?
Thank you, Eugene. I'll commit for Equity Bank.
Okay.
And by extension, the colleagues in the room, I'm sure I'll take the commitment on their behalf. We'll bring the money. Show us that these risks can be dealt with, and the money will be channeled to the sector. Just to illustrate what I'm talking about, Equity, we've committed to at least 30% of our loans to be in agriculture. 30% to be in agriculture.
Can we make it 50, 60?
That's just the minimum.
Oh, so it can
If
go
the
up.
opportunity is better than that, we'll be happy to even take in more.
Okay.
But that's what it is. So we are looking forward to working with all of you in partnership so that we can get that realized. And by extension, my colleagues in the room, financial sector, I look forward to their contribution too.
Awesome. Katie, just real quick, what's your commitment?
Is it on? Okay. So from Gates Ag One's point of view, our commitment is to creating those crop innovations that smallholder farmers care most about. And I invite everybody to come hear more about our Alliance for Cowpea Improvement in Africa tomorrow at noon in this same room, and hear about our crop innovation of cowpea that 200 million people depend on cowpea. And so if you don't know cowpea, definitely speak to one of your Ghanaian or Nigerian colleagues. They'll tell you how delicious and nutritious they are.
Yeah.
So that's our commitment, and you can come hear more about it tomorrow.
Awesome, awesome. Dr. Stella, commitment.
Our commitment, CropLife Africa Middle East, is to continue to create a platform where our members can deliver innovation for the support of smallholder farmers in food security and market access. And we're also committed to work with others. It takes everybody to come to the table to work with others to make this a promise for the smallholder farmer come true.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Brenda.
Yeah, thanks, Regine. We are a rural transformation agency. We still commit. It's not a new commitment. We still commit to be an assembler of finance, working with smallholder farmers to help them access finance, market linkages, looking at climate adaptation, and using digital technologies to enable access to those services. So we're committing to work with private sector, still working with public sector. I think the government still remains our initial partner, and we still remain to do that, but also bringing in the private sector along. So
Awesome, awesome. Honorable Minister of State, you have the last word and your commitment.
I think as a country, we remain and continue to have an open door policy. We have our hands open in terms of everyone, every actor, from the researchers, innovators, from the banks and the insurance, from the development partners, but also from different governments. We are yearning for anyone that has got a solution that are going to serve the food system actors and the entire ecosystem. We pledge to look for them, receive them, support them, and we're happy to invest with them, so that we try to find the solution in the ag sector.
Right. Thank you very much. Those commitments are powerful. We've noted them down. Next time we meet, we'll be asking those questions. How far are we with our commitments? Can we give a round of applause to this amazing panel? Thank you very much for your insights. I'll release you for the group photo. Thank you. Yeah, let's appreciate them one more time, please, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you very much. We've done so well on that note in terms of the 2 sessions. And I know that yesterday I gave you a chance to say hi to the person who was seated next to you. You asked them good morning in your language. But I've had a request that some of you are seated so far away from that person you've been eyeing since you came here. So I want to give you a chance, very briefly, to just be on your feet. Let's be on our feet, just all of us, let's be on our feet. The AV team, please give me that track, very briefly. I need you to just move a bit and say hi to that person you've been eyeing. You've seen them, you've heard them speak, you always want to talk to them. This is your chance. Target them, go for them now. Pass across, say hi, say hello, say comment ça va, shake that hand.
It's the kids, baby.
Yes. Just say hi. Say hello, say hello. You can hug, you can say hi. The students, please go ahead, say hi, say hi.
Maskosho inginga sekubalisela maskupulimizwa sukumisa umzimba koma sava
Tell them koma sava
koma sava nana aye sava nana koma sava koma sava koma sava koma sava.
The students move around, say hello, say hello.
So this it just be running. What's the price to love you? Would you still leave here with me if I didn't have $1?
Move around.
Put lipstick on my collar. Could be my dirty secret if we keep it undercover. Como saba? It's nice to meet you. You couldn't wait, so you said fuck me in the club. What made you walk my way? Was it my smile or my diamond rolling? You ain't seen nobody else in the place till you heard me say, Como saba? Como saba?
All right.
Como saba? Como saba? Aya saba, aya saba, aya saba, aya saba,
Wonderful, 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 wonderful. Yes, take those business cards, take those numbers, connect as much as you can. Once you're done, please take your seat. You can decide to even exchange seats, stay there if you want to. Beautifully done. Thank you very much. It's very crucial that we network. It's part of why we're here. And I'm hoping that you've met someone and you've got to know them even better in that sense. So any moment from now, the Right Honorable Prime Minister of the Republic of Rwanda will be walking in the room to join us for the official opening of this Congress and conference in that sense. And so when he comes in, I would like us to appreciate him in the best way we only know how. And then from there, we'll be able to have the program of the day continue smoothly in that specific sense. I'd like to remind us, in the event that you need some translation support, we have the simultaneous translation devices. Feel free to pick them at the left side of the stage, at the corner, and channel 1 is English, channel 2 is Français. That's the far I can go. And je suis malade à la tête. All right? And then just a polite reminder also that when we go for lunch, our next session will start at 2 p.m. Sometimes it's difficult getting a lot of us back in the room, so please mark your times so that we are all back in the room earlier than 2 p.m. so that we can start. We also have breakout sessions. They are called the technical interactive panels, which will be taking place at MH3 and 4, and of course at the main hall. And if you're a researcher, yesterday we had a lot about researchers. And there'll be a researchers dialogue that will be taking place at AD10. This is taking place after lunch in that specific sense. I'm also keen to tell you about the demos which are taking place after the plenary later on. And one of them will be on the GAP IQTM, and this will be presented later on by Virginia Tech. And of course, they are a next-gen data intelligence platform for accelerating sustainable productivity growth. This will be taking place at MH1 and 2. So if you're interested in that, please be sure to join in that session. So until our guest of honor arrives, I need you to still remain seated in your seat, but feel free to talk to the person seated next to you. You can interact, you can engage, but please write where you are on your seats.
ACAT is Africa's premier platform for agricultural technology transfer, designed to foster structural dialogue and consensus building on innovation and agricultural technologies, transformative ideas, and enabling policies that drive agricultural transformation across the continent. We have convened here in Kigali, Rwanda, for the second ACAT, which is an opportunity to accelerate progress in agricultural technologies through solution-driven discussions, inclusive engagement.
Welcome to Rwanda, the land of 1,000 heroes, where tradition meets innovation and the future of agriculture is being cultivated today. Agriculture isn't just the backbone of Rwanda's economy. It is the heartbeat of our nation. Spanning 1.4 million hectares, this sector contributes 25% to our GDP and supports millions of livelihoods. Rwanda is reimagining agriculture under the Second National Strategy for Transformation, NST2. We are on track for over 6% annual growth in the next 5 years, with productivity soaring by 50% and irrigated land expanding by 85%. This isn't just growth, it is transformation, with a vision to achieve upper middle income status by 2035 and high income status by 2050. The country is strategically positioning itself as a leader in sustainable and profitable agribusiness. Rwanda is investing in irrigation and modern farming to boost crop production and sustainability. Irrigation. To ensure sustainable growth, Rwanda has launched large-scale initiatives. Gabiro Agribusiness Hub, a $118.4 million joint venture developing 15,600 hectares of irrigated farmland, Muvumba Multi-Purpose Irrigation Project, a $170 million initiative aimed at developing 10,206 hectares of irrigated land to boost productivity, National Irrigation Scheme and Export Targeted Modern Irrigation ETI project are revolutionizing water use across the country. Livestock and dairy. Rwanda is also leading the way in livestock and dairy production with innovative projects. The GACO Beef Project, a flagship program enhancing Rwanda's beef industry with investments in cattle restocking, feedlots, and meat processing. The Rwanda National Animal Genetic Improvement Center focuses on boosting animal genetics, ensuring our meat production caters to both local and export markets. Additionally, our state-of-the-art facility, Inyange Milk Powder Plant, is advancing Rwanda's dairy sector by turning locally sourced milk into high-quality products for both domestic and international markets. Horticulture and cash crops. Rwanda's fertile soils and favorable climate are perfect for high-value crops. In Rwamagana, Bella Inc. is an export-focused operation renowned for producing premium roses that grace markets worldwide. Rwanda's high-altitude plantations yield some of the finest coffee and tea globally, contributing over 46% of the country's export revenues. The global demand for avocados is soaring, and Rwanda is tapping into this opportunity.
Right.
Rwanda is tapping into its lakes and water resources to
Okay.
build a strong aquaculture sector.
Right. I'd like to also request our colleagues in the Fourth Estate, the media, that there is a press conference, just in case you would like also to be part of that. It's taking place at Mezamine. It's upstairs, and this will be taking place after the official opening ceremony. So please stand by for that so that we can be able to capture that. The top officials we've seen here will be participating in that presser. So it's something worth attending. So thank you. As you are, you can continue.
It's more than an industry. It is a thriving, dynamic force that's shaping our future. We invite you to be part of this journey. Invest in Rwanda's agriculture and cultivate a future full of promise. Discover Rwanda and see how we are building sustainable agri-food systems. Every seed sown is a step toward a brighter future. Join us in cultivating the future today.
ACAT is Africa's premier platform for agricultural technology transfer, designed to foster structural dialogue and consensus building on innovation and agricultural technologies, transformative ideas, and enabling policies that drive agricultural transformation across the continent. We have convened here in Kigali, Rwanda, for the second ACAT, which is an opportunity to accelerate progress in agricultural technologies through solution-driven discussions, inclusive engagement, and the advancement of scientific research for Africa's farmers.
We are here as different groups of stakeholders to explore, to brainstorm, and celebrate the possibilities that exist under the theme Next Gen Agri-Tech Solutions for Africa's Farmers. We are embracing the bold vision of changing the face of our African agriculture through innovation, inclusivity, and farmer-centric approaches.
Welcome to Rwanda, the land of 1,000 hills, where tradition meets innovation, and the future of agriculture is being cultivated today. Agriculture isn't just the backbone of Rwanda's economy. It is the heartbeat of our nation. Spanning 1.4 million hectares, this sector contributes 25% to our GDP and supports millions of livelihoods. Rwanda is reimagining agriculture under the Second National Strategy for Transformation, NST2. We are on track for over 6% annual growth in the next 5 years, with productivity soaring by 50% and irrigated land expanding by 85%. This isn't just growth, it is transformation, with a vision to achieve upper middle income status by 2035 and high income status by 2050. The country is strategically positioning itself as a leader in sustainable and profitable agribusiness. Rwanda is investing in irrigation and modern farming to boost crop production and sustainability. Irrigation. To ensure sustainable growth, Rwanda has launched large-scale initiatives. Gabiro Agribusiness Hub, a $118.4 million joint venture developing 15,600 hectares of irrigated farmland. Muvumba Multi-Purpose Irrigation Project, a $170 million initiative aimed at developing 10,206 hectares of irrigated land to boost productivity. National Irrigation Scheme and Export Targeted Modern Irrigation ETI project are revolutionizing water use across the country. Livestock and dairy. Rwanda is also leading the way in livestock and dairy production with innovative projects. The GACO Beef Project, a flagship program enhancing Rwanda's beef industry with investments in cattle restocking, feedlots, and meat processing. The Rwanda National Animal Genetic Improvement Center focuses on boosting animal genetics, ensuring our meat production caters to both local and export markets. Additionally, our state-of-the-art facility, Inyange Milk Powder Plant, is advancing Rwanda's dairy sector by turning locally sourced milk into high-quality products for both domestic and international markets. Horticulture and cash crops. Rwanda's fertile soils and favorable climate are perfect for high-value crops. In Rwamagana, Bella Inc. is an export-focused operation renowned for producing premium roses that grace markets worldwide. Rwanda's high-altitude plantations yield some of the finest coffee and tea globally, contributing over 46% of the country's export revenues. The global demand for avocados is soaring, and Rwanda is tapping into this opportunity. Rwanda is tapping into its lakes and water resources to build a strong aquaculture sector. The country currently produces 9,000 tons of fish annually, with Kivu Choice contributing about 4,000 tons, nearly half of the total. The company aims to reach 20,000 tons by 2026, supporting Rwanda's national goal of 80,000 tons by 2035. Our youth are at the forefront of agricultural innovation, from poultry farming to deploying high-tech solutions that drive the sector forward. In Rwanda, agriculture is more than an industry. It is a thriving, dynamic force that's shaping our future. We invite you to be part of this journey. Invest in Rwanda's agriculture and cultivate a future full of promise. Discover Rwanda and see how we are building sustainable agri-food systems. Every seed sown is a step toward a brighter future. Join us in cultivating the future today.
We believe that the future of Africa lies in its vast land. We believe the future is in the hands of those who walk the fields. For those are the hands that feed nations and ensure a better and more productive Africa. We believe in those hands, and that is why we too bring our hands in support of them. Our hands come bearing technologies and solutions that ensure their effort is not in vain, but deliver results that ensure a sustainable, prosperous, and food-secure Africa. At AATF, we are driving transformation of livelihoods in sub-Saharan Africa through innovative agricultural technologies that deliver results. We promise to deliver prosperity through technology.
Farmers across Africa are facing the harsh realities caused by pests, diseases, and the impact of climate change. But agricultural technology is rewriting the story, one breakthrough at a time. AATF, the government of Rwanda, and partners invite you to the Second African Conference on Agricultural Technologies, ACAT, from the 9th to the 12th June 2025 at the Kigali Convention Centre, Rwanda, to discuss innovative technologies towards Africa's food and nutrition security under the theme Next Gen AgTech Solutions for Africa's Farmers. Join farmers, scientists, policymakers, and key stakeholders to experience hands-on tech demos and connect with global agri-innovators. Get your ticket today. Enjoy early bird discounts of 5% off on individual tickets and 20% off on group tickets. ACAT2025. See you there. The countdown is on. In just a few weeks, the premier gathering of Africa's top minds, ACAT 2025, will take place in Kigali, Rwanda. Join over 400 delegates from over 20 countries at the Kigali Convention Centre to discuss policies, regulations, and technologies that will shape Africa's agriculture in the days to come. Convening under the theme Next Gen AgTech Solutions for Africa's Farmers, policymakers, researchers, regulators, farmers, innovators, and agtech developers will come together to discuss and take bold Africa-led steps for Africa's agricultural prosperity. Visit acat.aatf-africa.org to register and book your slot now. Only a few exhibition booths still remain. ACAT 2025.
May we all take our seats,
See
please?
you there.
If you're standing, please do take your seats kindly. I said take your seats, I didn't say keep quiet. Just take your seat and relax. Yeah?
Showcase your technologies at the ACAT 2025 conference. Register early on the ACAT website to secure the limited slots available.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want us to prepare ourselves and give an ACAT 2025 round of applause to the Right Honorable Prime Minister of the Republic of Rwanda as he joins us, Dr. Edward Ngirente. Let's appreciate him as he joins us this morning in this room, where we're going to have the official opening of the ACAT 2025 that is taking place right here in the Republic of Rwanda. We have some more energy, we can do better. Come on, another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. We may take our seats. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Prime Minister, for joining us this morning. And as a reporter that I am, I'd like to quickly just give you a few recap or updates of what has happened since yesterday. I think we've had a good start when we started off yesterday, and we've also had that in the room. We have first-time visitors in Rwanda and their commitments that they've made, that they're going to be staying longer to be able to invest within the agri-food system space. I also am aware that we've had a session that just ended a few minutes ago, and one of the key takeaways was that farmers will never struggle about the question of access to finance. We heard that the money is there, and you'll never hear again the issue of farmers complaining about access to finance. And they'll increase the loan portfolio to agribusiness to 60% as a start. And also, yes. Thank you very much for that. We also heard that we need to incorporate the traditional methods in today's advancing technology when it comes to agribusiness. And we talked about the rainmakers, and probably it's time to bring them back, right, Honorable Prime Minister. I want us to recognize the presence in this particular room of high-level dignitaries who are joining us for this particular session. And I want us to put our hands together for His Excellency Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, who's here with us, the former president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We all appreciate him as the goodwill ambassador also of the AATF, who's also here with us in that sense. I want us to kick off this opening ceremony, and we'll be able to start off with a bit of entertainment. If you've been hearing about the Rwandan cultural troops, this is your time. I hope you've charged your phones and you have the data ready to be able to capture these memorable moments of this Rwandan cultural troupe called Inganzongari. They have about 5 minutes to wow you. Let's appreciate them, ladies and gentlemen, as they join us.
gira mararo nanjye ngira maramuke mwiriwe narongo. Yeah, imbamburi mana mbyutu ukombe mboneza amakoza. Kunacha yari yamye umubika mu gihumbi.
Yes, that's how it sounds, that's how it looks like, the energy from Inganzongari, opening us off in a very nice way. It is now time for us to get to hear the opening speeches. And first off, we are going to be able to hear the welcome or opening remarks by the board chair of AATF, and that is none other than the Professor Agri Ambari. Can we appreciate him, ladies and gentlemen, as he comes?
Thank you, moderator. The Prime Minister of Rwanda, Right Honorable Dr. Eduardo Ngrente, all the ministers present here, Honorable Minister of Agriculture, Dr. Bagabe, Honorable Minister Inkabile, Honorable Minister of Education from Malawi, Dr. Kabwira, Honorable Clement Apak, the Minister from Ghana, Minister of State, Eric Rigamba, and Honorable State Minister Solange Kaisire, members of the Diplomatic Corps, Director Generals and senior government officials, donor agencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I'm deeply honored to welcome you to this auspicious event, ACAT 2025. Right at the onset, I would like to convey gratitude to the government and people of the Republic of Rwanda for hosting us here in Kigali. Honorable Prime Minister, I can assure you that since we got here to this end, and I'm sure even as we'll be going through the rest of the week, it has all been peaceful, and we are very grateful. Ladies and gentlemen, your presence here today is not only an honor to us as AATF, but is a strong show of your commitment to our shared ideals of a food secure and prosperous Africa. Now, we met in Nairobi 2 years ago, and we dubbed that event ACAT 2023. We are meeting again here for the second time in Kigali, and we've dubbed this ACAT 2025. What's the focus? For 2025, the focus is really to re-energize our resolve to tackle Africa's agricultural challenges. This time, we are focusing the lens on the transformative role of next-gen agriculture tech solutions for Africa's farmers. Starting from yesterday, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, through to Thursday this week, we are unpacking this theme together and answer many critical questions, including the big one, being, what does it take to move from talk to action? We know that next-gen agricultural technologies can have a transformative role, drive economic growth, and improve food security. It is a fact that cutting-edge work in such areas as digital farming and biotechnology is already showing promise in enhancing productivity, reducing cost, post-harvest losses, and empowering farmers. However, the challenge at hand is to move from this knowledge that is in all forms to action at the policy level, operational level, and ultimately the last mile. You recall the Minister of State this morning of Rwanda told us to say, well, I think policies can be there, but then there has to be an enabling environment. And indeed, that's the challenge that we would like to make sure that we address at this particular meeting. This ACAT 2025 has been structured to achieve a high level of interaction through plenaries, some that actually the moderator was talking to earlier on, technical interactive panels. I think he enjoyed some yesterday, where we are told, don't invite us as farmers. We need to be there. We own the process. As well as strategic dialogues and demos. I'm sure this morning our brother was showing us how the weather stations can actually contribute effectively to agricultural production. So these themes that we've actually put together in the program are designed to catalyze as much conversation and knowledge sharing as possible on our shared understanding of needs-based solutions, high-impact investments, and partnerships, pathways for effective commercialization, and very critically, the role of effective stewardship in technology uptake. As AATF, working together with our partners, we have deliberately given a lot of attention this time to the topic of stewardship, because we appreciate that probably it has not received as much attention as has been the case in the past. Ladies and gentlemen, the ongoing debate, I think we all love this, our youth. Let's clap for them. We are very grateful to AATF and partners, ACAT Foundation, and others that have actually enabled a large participation of youth at this particular conference, ACAT2025. After all, they own their destiny anyway. They are not the leaders of tomorrow. I was told one day, no, we are not leaders of tomorrow. We are leaders of today. So indeed, you are welcome, and indeed take your rightful position as far as agriculture is concerned. Never negotiate power, seize power. The ongoing debate on the youth in Africa must begin to concretize into actionable models. Hence, ACAT2025 provides a high-level platform to reflect on the opportunities to take advantage of the intersection between modern technology advances, and the incentives to attract and retain the youth in meaningful work in agriculture. As I mentioned, we've got demos. These, again, will go a long way to confirm the power of seeing is believing, especially for exciting innovations in digital agriculture, data integration agriculture, decision-making support systems, and other examples where partners are pushing the frontiers of agro-processing. I think I should really let you see it for yourselves. We have got a very, very well-packed, well-thought-through program, and really, I would wish to welcome you all to ACAT2025, and indeed, wish you good health as we go through the rest of this particular conference. Thank you very much.
Let's appreciate the board chair one more time, please. It is now time for us to be able to listen to the keynote address that will be tackling the aspect of investing in the future of African agriculture, that will be delivered by His Excellency Dr. Goodluck Jonathan, the former President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Let's appreciate him as he comes to deliver the keynote address. More round of applause, please. Energy, thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, this will not be a formal keynote address in the really technical sense. It's more like a brief opening remarks. Let me appreciate the Honorable Prime Minister of the Republic of Rwanda, Dr. Eduardo Grante. Thank you for coming to encourage the farmers. Our host Minister of Agriculture and other honorable ministers from Africa that are here with us, the Nigerian acting ambassador, and all members of the diplomatic corps are here with us. Directors General and senior government officials are here in this gathering. The chairman of AATF board who just spoke, Professor Mbali, thank you for your leadership. Our donor agencies and development partners, thank you for your support. The Executive Director of AATF, Dr. Kanungri, thank you for your leadership. And my colleagues who are here for this program, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I am pleased to stand before you today to speak on the future of agriculture in Africa, a future that is full of purposeful promise and far-reaching potential. Before I delve into my speech, which will be a bit brief, please permit me to acknowledge and thank the President, His Excellency Paul Kagame, and the government of the Republic of Rwanda for the warm reception accorded me and my entourage from the day we arrived. In the same vein, let me thank the board and management of AATF for the warm reception. Honorable Prime Minister, please extend my sincere gratitude to my brother and friend, His Excellency President Kagame. Let me, at this point, sincerely acknowledge the leadership of AATF for creating this very important platform, the ACAT, which has added a strong voice to the African agricultural conversation. It is an opportunity to showcase capabilities and potentials, and a rallying point to articulate our agricultural agenda for the good of the continent. As we gather here, we must recognize that Africa stands at a historic crossroads. On one road lies the continued struggle with food insecurity anchored on underutilized land, limited use of innovative technologies, and fragmented markets. On the other lies a bold vision, one that beholds Africa as a global powerhouse in food and nutritional security, powered by innovation, partnerships, and transformative investments. With the projected growth in our population, we have no choice but to increase food production in Africa. For these opening remarks, let me just make brief comments on some selected areas. Africa's agricultural potential. Our great continent, Africa, is home to 60% of the world's uncultivated arable land. The continent boasts of diverse agroecological zones, a growing youthful population, and a rich heritage of farming and food systems. And indeed, if you look at the ecological zones in Africa that the agroecological zones follow, Africa is actually blessed. There are some countries, some continents that almost the whole continent have almost the same geography. If you take my country, Nigeria alone, you move from the mangroves forest in the coastal area, through the rain forest, through the Guinea savanna, the Sudan savanna, the Sahel savanna, and the semi-desert. And all these zones produce different crops. If you come to Eastern Africa, of course, the savannas, the montane vegetations, and so on and so forth. You hardly see a continent that has that kind of diversity in terms of the agroecology. So for Africa, we must really work hard and ensure that young people are brought in to improve agriculture. The role of technology. The future of agriculture on our continent is intricately tied to our ability to embrace and scale up available and emerging technologies. I'm quite pleased that in this program there are a lot of demonstrations of various technologies that will be very useful. Regional collaboration through platforms such as the African Union, the Economic Community of West African States, COMESA, and the African Continental Free Trade Area must be strengthened to unlock inter-Africa trade, reduce tariffs on agricultural inputs, and harmonize standards for regulation and management of food products. The imperative of sustained investment. For far too long, agricultural investment in Africa has been sporadic, short-termed, and donor dependent. This narrative must change. We must view investment in agriculture not as aid, but as a strategic economic imperative. Africa's agricultural transformation will require bold, long-term financing from both domestic and international sources. Government must fulfill and go beyond their commitments under the Maputo and Malabo declarations, which proposes allocation of at least 10% of national budgets to agriculture. Private investment must be incentivized through clear policies, risk guarantees, and public-private partnership developed. Development finance institutions must innovate financing models that work for smallholder farmers and agripreneurs. This will encourage young people to go into agriculture. Luckily, this morning in one of the panels, the issue of finance was well discussed, and the banker promised 30% loan to go to agri. That is huge. From my experience in Nigeria, if 30% should go to agri, then I think we'll have no problem in Rwanda again, because that is huge. Yesterday, too, one of the panels, we discussed, and young people were there, discussed how do we encourage young people to go into farming. This morning, the issue of carrot without the stick came up, just like we discussed yesterday, and issues of finance. And it reminds me about when I was in office. Then my Honorable Minister of Agriculture is the current African Development Bank President, Akin Adesina. And we really wanted to revolutionize agriculture in Nigeria. And what we needed to do was to encourage young people. And we came up with agripreneurs and how to run agriculture as a business, not just subsistence farming. And you'll be surprised that so many young people, because of the encouragement and incentives, so many young people were involved, including medical doctors, lawyers, and engineers, not just graduates in agriculture. So for us, actually, to mobilize young people to go into farming, we should not look at only graduates in agriculture. Yesterday, we also discussed, the panel also raised the issues of the quality of the graduates who produce in agriculture, and whether some of them are actually technically competent, especially areas of farm management and agri-engineering. And from my experience, if governments are serious and mobilize young people and give incentive, young boys who read other areas can do very well in agriculture. And some of them who did very well during that agripreneur programs were young people who read different courses, not necessarily agriculture. And the issue of finance, I remember when the banker promised the 30%, there was a caveat, issue of the risk. And that is why I believe that the financial institutions led by the central bank of the countries must come up with a model that the banks will be able to lend money. This 30%, they cannot just carry that 30% and give to farmers, because there is significant risk in lending money to farmers because of all kinds of challenges, weather challenges, flood, and so on. Before I became president, we started something we call Nigeria Incentive-Based Risk-Sharing System for Agricultural Lending. The total percentage of loans in Nigeria that go to farmers was 0.5%. When we started that, within 2 years, it moved to 5%. That was led by the central bank with all the other banks, and we tried to see how we can share the risk, how the risk could also, not the commercial banks alone, should not take the risk. And that was a good motivation for the commercial banks, and it really improved our agriculture within that period. Climate smart and resilient agriculture. As you all know, climate change threatens to undermine decades of progress and new initiatives. We therefore must scale up climate-smart agricultural practices that build resilience, restore ecosystems, and ensure that food production does not come at the expense of our environment. Water management, soil health, biodiversity, and renewable energy must be central components of our agricultural development strategies. A call to action. Honorable Prime Minister, ladies and gentlemen, the time to act is now. Let us invest not just in seeds and fertilizers, but in science, policy, and the people. Let us build systems that are resilient, inclusive, and just. Let us ensure that Africa will not only feed herself, but will be a net exporter of food to other parts of the world. The dream of a food-secure Africa is not only possible, it is within our reach. But it depends on what we do. The issue of our vision, unity, and unrelenting commitment as leaders, stakeholders, and citizens of this great continent. Let us rise together to feed not just our nation, but also for export. And I always say that for us to move our vision for agriculture, the governments are central. No matter how interested the private sector will be, because agriculture needs a lot of push from the governments. I remember when I took over as the president, I called Aliko Dangote, who was then the richest man in Africa. I think still the richest man in Africa, but definitely the richest man in Nigeria. And he was a good investor. There are so many rich people that don't invest. And I said, I pleaded with him that then his main business was cement, sugar, and others. I said, look, we want to revolutionize agriculture. We need people like you to come and invest in agriculture. Somebody like you, Aliko, you can invest 1 billion in agriculture, and that will help the country. Aliko told me that, President, thank you. Well, you see, dealing with live things are too difficult, whether animals or plants, that I prefer dealing with chemicals. Though later, from our persuasion, he was able to invest 1 billion into agriculture. But that's because the government continued to press and give some incentives. So I believe, yes, the political will by African leaders is there. But we must do better. Countries are doing well. If you go to Ethiopia, for example, the government is so much interested in coffee because it's a cash crop. And most African countries, the governments are interested in the cash crops that will bring money for the country to spend. And don't give that much interest. Yes, there are ministries of agriculture and parastatals that handle every other thing. But you see, it's beyond, if you come to, Rwanda is doing very well. In terms of coffee, Rwanda and Ethiopia, I think they are rivals. Who is the leader? The Agri-Minister will tell us who is the leader. And they are doing very well because it takes a deliberate government push. And I read somewhere as I came in here about the potato seeds by Rwanda trying to develop more and to be known as the major supplier in East and Southern Africa. So if government does not push something, it's difficult for you to succeed. And if the banks have agreed to lend 30%, which is huge, if the central bank should be able to encourage them through different options, and that money goes to the farmers, then, of course, Rwanda alone probably can feed the rest of Africa. ladies and gentlemen, I thank all of you for gathering here for us to have this conversation on how to move agri forward. Because as Africans, we have no choice. With our population and the unemployment, we can't continue to import food. Yes, we may import some categories of food, but we should be able to produce 90% of our food needs and also export significant part of our food to other countries. I thank you all.
Let's appreciate His Excellency one more time. Thank you very much for those very thought-provoking remarks. Thank you. It is time now to invite our next speaker, who's going to issue his remarks, and that is none other than the Minister of Agriculture and Animal Resources of the Republic of Rwanda, Honorable Dr. Mark Cyubahiro Bagabe. Let's appreciate him as he comes to address us this morning.
The Right Honorable Prime Minister, His Excellency Goodluck Jonathan, the Goodwill Ambassador of AATF and former President of the Republic of Nigeria, ministers from Rwanda and the African countries who are present here today. I also want to recognize the High Commissioner of Nigeria to Rwanda, who is with us this morning. I also want to recognize Dr. Agnes Karibata, the former president of AGRA, whom I know that you have all met during her career in AGRA. Development partners, distinguished guests, participants, all protocols observed. Good morning. It's my pleasure to welcome you to this ceremony of Africa Conference on Agricultural Technologies, ACAT2025. We gather today at a time when African agriculture faces challenges to feed the population that is expected to double by the year 2050. In this context, farmers must meet the growing food demand while navigating the harsh realities of the climate change, soil degradation, pests, and the shrinking resources. Therefore, agricultural transformation is not optional. It is a must-have, and is urgent. Right Honorable Prime Minister, Excellencies, dear audience, ACAT 2025 focuses on farmer-centric innovation. This means solutions designed with and for farmers, thus addressing real-world challenges they face daily. The agri-tech we are talking about, tools. The future of African agriculture must be practical, inclusive, and grounded in farmer realities. Allow me to reiterate that innovation must go hand in hand with investments, partnerships, and stewardship to make sure that investments are sustainable. It is only through collaborative action and sustainable approaches that we can scale ag-tech solutions and reach every last mile. Here in Rwanda, we are proud to host this conference as a part of our ongoing commitment to agricultural transformation. We believe that by putting farmers first, embracing technology, and protecting our environment, we can shape a food, secure, resilient, and prosperous Africa. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister. It is now my distinct honor to invite our guest of honor, the Right Honorable Prime Minister of the Republic of Rwanda, Dr. Edouard Ngirente, to address us this morning. Let's appreciate him as he comes.
Your Excellency, Dr. Goodluck Jonathan, former President of Nigeria, honorable ministers here present, scientists and innovators, development partners, distinguished guests, a very good morning. I am pleased to welcome you all, especially farmers from across the continent, to the second edition of African Conference on Agricultural Technology. This event builds on the success of its inaugural conference held 2 years ago, bringing us closer to a smarter, more sustainable agriculture. First of all, I would like to thank the African Agricultural Technology Foundation, the key organizer of both editions, for partnering with the government of Rwanda to make it possible. As we gather here today to discuss agricultural technology, this conference should not be another conversation. We are here for solutions. Each person in this room, farmers, policymakers, researchers, and innovators, has a role to play in shaping the future of our agriculture. This future depends on ensuring that every farmer has access to reliable and sufficient input, precision farming tools, and real-time market data, among others. Distinguished guests, as we are all aware, agriculture remains the backbone of our economies, employing over 60% of the population and contributing approximately 23% to Africa's GDP. However, despite the vast potential of our continent lands and human capital, many African farmers continue to face significant production challenges. These include climate conditions, outdated agricultural practices, limited access to markets, and inadequate financing. To address these barriers and secure the future of agriculture in Africa, we must leverage technology and innovation as essential drivers of its transformation. Today, hard work alone is no longer sufficient. Agriculture must be sustainable and attractive, especially for our young generation. To achieve this, we need to integrate technology and innovation across our efforts to transform the sector. Indeed, technology and innovation are essential pillars of modern agriculture and are no longer optional. Distinguished guests, Rwanda considers agriculture as one of the key pillars of sustainable development. The country continues to make strategic investments to strengthen the sector, and we had to de-risk the sector and make farming more attractive and profitable. In this regard, we have implemented several initiatives across the value chain. These initiatives include ensuring the availability of quality agriculture inputs, improving access to affordable financing, promoting crop and livestock insurance, scaling up irrigation infrastructure, and improving agricultural extension services. They also incorporate the expansion of post-harvest management facilities and strategic investment in demand-driven education, among other strategic interventions. In all these efforts, Rwanda has integrated innovations and research to drive better results. And we have noticed that with the right innovations, agriculture can be sustainable and profitable. Distinguished guests, the future of African agriculture will depend on how well we integrate technology with practical solutions. To build a strong technology-driven agriculture sector, Africa must focus on its three key pillars. First, there is a need to empower young innovators by providing funding, training, and resources to scale their smart farming solutions. Second, Africa must de-risk agriculture sector to safeguard farmers from uncertainties. Expanding access to crop and livestock insurance, affordable financing, and climate-resilient seeds will ensure greater stability and long-term security in the sector of agriculture. Likewise, improved livestock care and reliable farming tools are essential for making the sector more productive. Third, expanding digital farming tools such as precision farming, automated irrigation, and AI-driven advisory tools and pest detection systems are essential to make agriculture more efficient and profitable. Distinguished guests, as I conclude, let's remember that technology is not just about tools, it is about people. It empowers farmers, regardless of the age, to make informed decisions and improve their livelihood. Most importantly, it strengthens Africa's belief in its ability to feed itself and develop. Let us work together to deliver solutions for our continent. With these remarks, I officially declare the African Conference on Agricultural Technology 2025 open. I thank you so much.
Thank you very much, the Right Honorable Prime Minister, for officially gracing and opening ACAT 2025. We need to appreciate the Right Honorable Prime Minister one more time. A round of applause, please, ladies and gentlemen. So the next item on the agenda right now is what we always call here in Rwanda, ifoto y'urwibutso. It's a group photo that will allow us to remember these moments and the commitments we made right here and the people that were here when we were making these commitments. Allow me to call and have those that are called step on stage. I'll start off with the Honorable Minister of State, Ms. Solange Kaisire, to join us on stage. To be joined by Ambassador Ibrahim Zana. To also be joined by Dr. Canisius Kanagire. Let's also have the Minister of State, Eric Rigamba, joining us right now. Allow me also to call the Honorable Clement Apak, the Deputy Minister in Ghana. I'd like to also humbly request the Honorable Minister Paul Engabire to join us on stage. I would like to call the Honorable Jesse Kabwila, Minister of Higher Education in Malawi. Allow me to also request that we have Professor Agri Ambali, the Board Chair, AATF, to join us. Also to join the photo op is the Honorable Mark Bagawe Chiwahiro. with distinction and honor, I'd like to call both His Excellency Goodluck Jonathan and the Right Honorable Prime Minister of the Republic of Rwanda to join us on this. May I also prepare the board members, Ambassador Professor Muhammadu Ka, to also be on standby to join, Professor Bernard Slippers and Professor Margaret Gill and Dr. Katrin Glatzel, the board members of AATF. Thank you. Thank you very, very, very much. A round of applause. It's good. Thank you very, very much. Wonderful. I'd like now to allow all of us to appreciate the Right Honorable Prime Minister and his delegation as he goes to the guided visit of the demo and exhibitions. And that is going to happen now. So let's appreciate the Right Honorable Prime Minister and his delegation and all the dignitaries that have joined us this morning. The rest of us, let us stay in the room, please. I'll give you further instructions of what we will do next. Right. We will now go to the next item on our amazing program. And at this time, we'll be able to have the showcase or the project showcase on Rwanda Biotech program that we also heard about in the course of the presentations we had here earlier on. We'll hear about the cassava, potato, maize, and we'll be able to see the partnerships between RAB Rwanda and the partners. And this is going to be delivered jointly. It's a tag team, and it's going to be delivered by Dr. Anastas Nuumuremye and, of course, Mr. Ebed Matagu, who's the project manager at the RAB PCMP. Can we appreciate them as they come to deliver for us this project showcase right now?
Good afternoon, honorable delegates. Bonjour. Thank you. We have a few minutes to just tell the story of the Rwanda Agri-Biotech program. So we are going to share this because this is the story of partnership that is the theme of the session this today. So my name there, with my brother here, Atanas, we work like this in all the situations. So allow me to move this so that we have the respect for time. I believe as many of us know those three crops, cassava, you know about potato, you know about maize. Many of us are familiar with those three crops. They are grown in East Africa, they are grown in many parts of Africa, as well as the rest of the world. So, partnership has been mentioned this morning in a big way. We at AATF know we do not succeed until we get it right with partnerships. So we have to re-emphasize the word partnership. We have done it not only with this program, but also with other programs that we are rolling out in Africa. So partnership is a key. So the Rwanda Agri-Biotech program brings together partnerships, rolling out the crop of maize. So that brings together Bayer, who are gurus in technology, CIMIT, who work in maize, as well as AATF, of course, working on maize with tolerance to fall armyworm. The potato team also comes with expertise from Michigan State University, with the Potato Center, who are the global lead in potato, as well as other partners. And the cassava, of course, brings together Danforth Center, who have the technology on improving cassava, as well as our lead RAB, the Rwanda Agriculture Animal Resources Board. So having said that, partnership is one side of the coin. The other side of the coin is an enabling environment. And we're just showing you where we have come from in the last decade, where we only had about 6 African countries with an environment which can permit biotech into their countries. But with all the work that we are doing as partners, in 2024, we can proudly say we are just crossing the threshold of 13 countries with enabling an environment. We have an inbox at AATF, which is appearing in the middle there, where we populate with the approvals and we celebrate them. When we get an approval in one country, we celebrate because we consider that as a milestone. So I'm going to let my brother talk about the Rwanda Agri-Biotech program as I step behind.
Yes, thank you very much, Abed. As you said, as you said, the crop we are working on, cassava, potato, maize, are very important for our region. However, we are dealing with challenges which cannot be addressed by conventional methods. So agricultural biotechnology comes in as a solution where we are dealing with disease and climate change issues. In cassava, we are dealing with viral disease, which called cassava brown streak disease, and cassava mosaic. In potato, we are dealing with red blight, and in maize, we are dealing with drought and stem borer and fall armyworm pests. So all of these challenges, without anything done, they can cause 100% loss of the production. So conventionally, it can take many years to get a solution, but with technology, with agriculture, biotech technology, we can solve this problem within short time of periods. So the progress, we worked with the regulatory agencies. So this initiative is very young. We started last year in October. So today we are almost 8 months. So it goes up to 2029. So in this journey, we were able to establish infrastructures, the field trials, and the one we call confined field trials. So also we were able to get the approvals from a regulatory agency to conduct the field trials of all crops. So for cassava, we are quite advanced, and potato. Of course, it depends on the nature of the crop. You can see from that map where we have our facilities. And as you are all aware, our farmers need to get information without miscommunication. So we are engaging media, youth, women to deliver a good message to our farmers. And we are also partnering with private sector, especially for value chain development. And also, we are expecting to get approvals for environment release. It means to go to move out from the confined field trials to farmers field. So if we are approved by next season, 2026 A season, which starts in September, we will conduct national performance trials and farmers participatory variety selection to let our farmers appreciate the products. Thank you very much. We are looking forward to deliver these enhanced crops to our farmers. Thank you.
Yeah, let's appreciate that tag team one more time. So now, we are doing very well on time, and I wanted us now to just get a few announcements on some of the things that we need to prepare ourselves for. Remember that we have sessions coming up after lunch that I'd like you to make sure you're in this room by 2 p.m. And in case you'd like to be part of the technical interactive panel that will be taking place at MH3 and 4, please be around for that. AD10, please look out for AD10 if you are a researcher and you'd like to be part of the researchers dialogue that will be taking place at AD10 in that sense. Now, we will be heading for the demo that is going to be taking place at MH1 and 2, and this will be looking at the GAP IQTM, and it's going to be delivered by Virginia Tech, which is a next-gen data intelligence platform for accelerating sustainable productivity growth in that sense. I won't say much about this because I don't want to take the juice out of it. I'd like to invite you to be able to be part of this particular demo session that is going to be taking place at MH1 and MH2. And so I'd like to release us for this, and we all be out there for lunch at around 1 p.m. For those who might not know where the lunch will be served, we have the Auditorium Club, and the ushers will be happy to support you to know where that is. And then we have the Ladder Restaurant, which is in the main hotel, and the award-winning Fellini Restaurant. Yesterday I said that everybody wanted to be at Fellini. All of them are serving good dishes. The farmers did a good job. Again, if you go for lunch later on, please eat everything. So I'll pause there and allow us to be able to go for or have this particular demo session that will be taking place at MH1 and MH2. I don't have much to say unless if there's any other further announcements, which I don't see at the moment. So I'd wish you bon appetit in advance, and eat everything and enjoy the demo sessions. We'll see you again in just a bit. Take care of yourselves.